Usually, your thoughts are kind of your sanctuary, right? They act as this mental safe where you can just nod and smile through a brutal performance review while internally you were screaming.
Oh yeah, completely. Nobody is the wiser.
Right, and maintaining that internal privacy just feels like, I don't know, a fundamental human right. But in the spiritual framework we are diving into today, that mental safe isn't just impossible to secure, locking it is actually considered the ultimate spiritual
It
failure.
really is.
Yeah.
We are looking at a worldview where total radical exposure is basically the only path forward.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to explore this really fascinating and honestly highly polarized spiritual text from November 2020.
Yeah, it's by an author named Xu Feng, and it is titled "The Naked Will Be One with Me."
And just to set the tone for you, this document is a wild ride. I mean, it aggressively oscillates between these lofty, abstract theological concepts about the universe.
And then suddenly it pivots to incredibly blunt, street-level, pragmatic advice for, like, just surviving a Tuesday.
Exactly. And to be clear, our role here is not to endorse this philosophy. We just want to unpack this incredibly unique worldview for you.
Right. We are going to examine how it defines literally everything, from the strict requirements for entering heaven to the gritty mechanics of daily social survival.
Because we are going to discuss why complaining is literally categorized as garbage, why being overwhelmingly ordinary is your greatest superpower, and the surprising earthly institution that this text claims will instantly disqualify you from heaven.
That one is a genuine shocker. But to understand any of those rules, we really have to start at the top with the core mandate of the entire philosophy.
Right, the title of the piece itself. Okay, let's unpack this. What exactly does it mean to be naked in this context? Because it doesn't mean physical clothing, right?
No, not at all. What's fascinating here is that nakedness means radical, uncompromising spiritual transparency. The text demands complete surrender to the divine.
So holding absolutely nothing back.
Exactly. It argues that when God approaches you, the more, quote, magnanimous and naked you are, the more you are favored and protected.
And the author actually explicitly calls out the human instinct to hide things, right? Like the text says, if you try to conceal your intentions or your fears, assuming the divine won't notice, you are literally the stupidest person in the world.
Yeah, those are strong words. But the underlying logic is that the divine consciousness already possesses complete knowledge of the universe.
Right.
So the act of hiding isn't just futile, it functions as a deliberate act of separation. You are trying to build a wall in a space that requires infinite openness.
It's like trying to hide your internet browsing history from the IT admin who literally built your computer and wrote the network code.
That is a perfect analogy.
I mean, they have the server logs. Hiding it just makes you look ridiculous while you are burning your own energy.
Right. You are expending massive amounts of spiritual battery life to maintain this illusion of privacy that doesn't actually exist. And that friction fundamentally blocks the integration process.
And the ultimate reward for this total surrender, this vulnerability, is unifying with God. The author even goes a step further, suggesting that by achieving this unity, you effectively become a god yourself.
Yes, which is a huge claim.
It is. But I do want to push back on the specific dynamic described here, though, because it seems incredibly unforgiving.
How so?
Well, the text states, and I quote, "When God comes to you and tells you which way to go, but you ignore and do not abide, then you will never be guided again."
Yeah, that is a very strict rule.
Right. I mean, I get the need for surrender, but isn't that an incredibly strict one strike and you're out policy? We are built to doubt. If becoming one with God is the ultimate goal, why is the mechanism so easily shattered by just a single moment of human hesitation?
I completely see why it sounds like a vindictive policy if we project human emotions onto it, like an angry parent walking away.
Yeah, exactly.
But Shuafeng is describing something closer to the laws of physics. It is a mechanical universe. Think of it less as a punishment and more like tuning a radio.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The divine guidance operates on a specific frequency of pure receptivity and gratitude. The text emphasizes that God already knows your needs.
So you don't even need to ask.
Right. The less you ask for, the more your needs are met. When you start making demands, or if you second-guess the directions because they don't align with your ego, you introduce static.
You change your own frequency.
Exactly. The divine energy simply withdraws because you are no longer tuned in. It sighs, as the text notes, and dissipates.
So the breakdown isn't a punishment at all. It is just a natural consequence of shifting from a state of gratitude into a state of management.
You're trying to control the uncontrollable.
And that instantly breaks the circuit. If you are busy shouting your demands or mapping out a better route, you aren't naked. You have walled yourself off again.
Right. The system requires you to abandon the urge to manage your own spiritual trajectory and just simply float in the current.
Wow. Okay, so if that radical internal state of floating transparency is required for the divine, it fundamentally changes how you interact with the physical world around you. Right.
It absolutely does. It dictates everything about your external reality.
Because this text leans into a concept that feels a bit similar to the law of attraction, but it applies a very strict, almost violent aesthetic dualism to how it works.
Yeah, Shuifeng draws an absolute line between beauty and ugliness, but he defines them entirely through internal emotional states rather than physical appearances.
I want to bring up one of the most vivid quotes in the source because it perfectly captures this. He writes, "Do not expect the garbage from your mouth to attract phoenixes."
Such a striking image.
It really is. In this cosmology, troubles, pain, misfortune, melancholy, and resentment, they are all categorized as objective ugliness.
And the text treats this as a mechanical law of the universe, just like the radio frequency. Beauty attracts beauty, and ugliness summons ugliness.
So showing pain or resentment just brings more of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you display passive, negative, or pessimistic emotions to the outside world, you aren't just having a bad day. You are actively broadcasting an ugly frequency.
And that frequency serves as a beacon for other negative forces, events, and people.
Right. So applying this to your daily life, if you walk into a morning meeting complaining about the traffic, radiating resentment about your workload, projecting misery, you are essentially spewing garbage into the room.
You are actively degrading the fabric of reality around you.
So when the meeting goes off the rails or your colleagues start avoiding you, you really can't be surprised. You didn't put out the energy required to summon a phoenix.
Because you are operating from a frequency of lack. And this connects deeply to the text's core rule regarding human action.
The giving versus taking mindset.
Right. The author states that whenever an event occurs, your very first thought dictates your spiritual trajectory. If your first thought is, "What can I give?" you instantly connect to what is sacred and noble.
But if your first thought is, "What can I get?" the text warns you are united with lowliness, and you will never achieve nobility.
It is a complete inversion of a transactional mindset. You don't petition the universe for beautiful things. The text explicitly demands, do not beg for beautiful things. Instead, make yourself beautiful. And then the things will just fall into your orbit by gravitational necessity.
Exactly. Operating from a place of extraction, focusing on what you can take from a situation, means you are hoarding.
You are operating from scarcity.
And a person who hoards cannot be surrendered, and therefore cannot be naked.
Okay, so if the universe violently rejects anyone operating from a place of scarcity, it makes total sense that the ultimate destination, heaven, would have a strict firewall against those earthly traits.
So the criteria for entering heaven in this text leave absolutely zero room for interpretation or negotiation.
Let's lay out those exclusions, because the text establishes some very specific disqualifiers.
Right. First, it establishes that there are no worries or pains in heaven. Consequently, if you harbor worries and pains in your current life, you have nothing to do with heaven and will never reach it.
You simply do not match the frequency of the destination.
Exactly. It tracks perfectly with the requirement to stop projecting garbage. You cannot carry your earthly resentment into a pristine system.
And then the text establishes an economic rule, right? Anything that can be valued or bought with money does not belong in heaven.
Yes. Anyone who values money is declared a life unworthy of heaven. Wealth is the ultimate expression of the transactional mindset we just discussed.
It's the crystallization of the "what can I get" philosophy.
Right, making it entirely incompatible with a realm of pure giving and surrender.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Because then we hit a rule that genuinely made me stop reading and stare at the wall.
I know exactly which one you mean.
The text explicitly states, and again I quote, "There is no marriage in heaven. Once you marry, never expect to reach heaven."
It is incredibly jarring.
Imagine realizing that your marriage certificate, literally the thing society tells you is your foundational achievement, is the exact document keeping you out of heaven in this worldview.
It flies in the face of almost every traditional value system.
Why does this text group marriage alongside greed and worry as an ultimate deal breaker for salvation?
If we connect this to the bigger picture and map marriage against the mechanics of divine physics laid out by Shuifeng, the restriction is actually entirely logically consistent.
How so?
Consider the core nature of a marriage contract in human society. It is an earthly attachment built on exclusivity and possessiveness. It inherently relies on concepts of mine and yours.
Hmm. Ah, so it is the ultimate form of spiritual hoarding. You are legally and emotionally reserving a piece of the universe entirely for yourself.
Exactly. And remember, the mandate from the very beginning is complete, naked surrender to the divine. You must give everything to achieve full integration.
Right.
If you are bound by an exclusive earthly contract to another human being, you are holding a massive portion of your energy back. You have divided your loyalty.
You are attempting to merge infinitely with the cosmos while remaining finite and tethered to one specific person.
You cannot dissolve into the universal consciousness if you are legally fused to bathe from accounting. It's impossible.
Right. Marriage, in this view, is basically an anchor to the ground. Like money, it is a system of earthly accounting. You simply cannot drag those heavy tethers into a realm defined by absolute freedom.
The text views all of these things, worry, money, marriage, as heavy, dense materials. And heaven is the space of pure lightness. If you carry dense materials, you cannot ascend.
Okay, so knowing that the bar for heaven requires shedding your marriage, your money, and all your earthly anxieties, we have to look at how this text suggests dealing with the present moment.
Because most of us are definitely not in heaven yet.
Exactly. Assuming you are not currently in a state of pure divine ascension and you are just trying to navigate your week, how do you live on earth right now?
It is fascinating because the document pivots remarkably fast from these massive cosmic rules down to deeply cynical, street-level social survival.
The author totally acknowledges the reality that you're living in a flawed world, right? Surrounded by people who are actively projecting garbage and hoarding their energy.
Yes, the text offers a highly practical guide for moving through that density without absorbing it.
And one of the strongest warnings is against taking yourself too seriously. It really advocates for playing versus preaching.
Right. The text commands you should learn how to play and amuse yourself and do not talk about great principles all day.
Discussing great principles all day leaves you in a state of spiritual limbo.
The author describes this as being hung in the air. You are entirely missing out on the joys of earthly play, but you also aren't actually tasting the delicacies of heaven,
You're just stuck in the middle.
analyzing the mechanics instead of experiencing them.
It's like someone who memorizes the entire instruction manual to a complex video game, talks endlessly on forums about the lore and the mechanics, but completely refuses to pick up the controller and actually play.
That is a great way to put it. The text delivers a brutal assessment of this behavior. It says, do not preach to others the truth that you do not understand. It is all rubbish.
Lived experience is prioritized over theoretical posturing. And to navigate this game of life, Zhuofeng provides a remarkably simple, highly practical rubric for identifying who you should actually spend your time with.
Oh, this is the angels and demons test.
Yes. And what makes it so fascinating is that it doesn't require any sort of supernatural vision or deep esoteric knowledge. It relies entirely on your own internal emotional state.
The text instructs you to monitor how people make you feel. It is a binary system. People who bring you joy, happiness, freedom, and make you feel relaxed are literally categorized as angels from heaven.
Conversely, those who bring you trouble, pain, anxiety, sorrow, and make you feel sad, they are literally demons from hell.
It is so direct.
Right. This isn't just modern therapy speak about setting boundaries. Yuefeng is essentially saying that your emotional state is the ultimate lie detector for the cosmos.
You don't need to analyze someone's intentions or excuse their toxic behavior because of their past trauma.
If their presence in your life generates anxiety and fear, they are functioning as demons in your reality.
It gives the reader absolute permission to cut through the complexity of human relationships. You evaluate the energetic output.
But then, the text introduces a piece of advice regarding group dynamics that feels entirely counterintuitive, especially in a culture that worships individuality and standing out.
The social conformity rule.
Yes. The text explicitly warns, in any group, do not stand out for your exceptionality or make yourself conspicuous, or that group will eventually abandon you.
It presents a fascinating contradiction. We are told to radiate beauty and noble intentions to attract phoenixes, but we are simultaneously warned not to stick out or shine too brightly among our peers.
How do you project overwhelming spiritual beauty while actively trying to blend into the wallpaper?
Well, this raises an important question about how the text defines true beauty versus societal glamour. The text makes a pointed distinction. It says, glamour belongs to celebrities, but real happiness belongs to ordinary people with great wisdom, but who appear slow-witted.
Appear slow-witted. I mean, that is basically spiritual possum playing.
That's exactly what it is.
By intentionally dropping your heart rate and appearing unexceptional, The predators of the social world, like the ego, the jealousy of the group, the competitive instincts of your coworkers, they literally lose your scent.
Because being the loudest, the smartest, or the most exceptional makes you a target. It draws the projections and resentments of the group towards you, which forces you to expend your energy defending yourself.
True wisdom in this framework involves flying completely under the radar.
You enjoy the play of life. You cultivate your inner light for the divine, but you adopt the protective camouflage of the utterly ordinary person in public.
It's an incredible blend of high spiritual idealism and deeply cynical social realism. The philosophy essentially demands that you keep your soul absolutely pure and naked for God, but you play dumb at the neighborhood block party so you don't get targeted by demons.
Right. You are conserving your energy for the divine integration rather than wasting it trying to fix broken earthly systems or reason with unreasonable people.
And the text explicitly codifies this refusal to fix things. It says, do not try to reason with people who do not understand reason or try to make cats and mice get along well as a family.
Trying to force harmony where the fundamental nature of the things prohibits it is an act of spiritual hubris.
You just have to accept that cats eat mice, some people are fundamentally unreasonable, and your job is to walk away, not to orchestrate a peace treaty.
It demands that you judge the human world entirely on empirical evidence. As the author writes, from the mouth comes deceit, but facts do not lie.
So what does this all mean? If we pull back and look at the entire landscape of the naked will be one with me, we see a worldview that demands two completely divergent postures depending on which direction you're facing.
Exactly. When you face the divine, the requirement is total, terrifying vulnerability. You abandon all hiding, all petitioning, and all earthly anchors like wealth and marriage. You offer pure surrender.
But when you turn around and face the human world, the requirement is guarded, ruthless pragmatism. You judge people purely by their actions and the physical anxiety they produce in your body.
You blend into the crowd. You refuse to preach principles you haven't lived, and you stop trying to force cats and mice to be friends.
It is a framework that really asks you to conduct a brutal audit of your current life.
I'd ask everyone listening to reflect on that.
Yeah.
Are you secretly holding on to internal garbage while wondering why you aren't attracting a phoenix?
Are the people you surround yourself with bringing you the profound relaxation of angels or the draining anxiety of demons?
It really makes you evaluate your daily interactions.
It does. But as we wrap up this deep dive, there is a final, profoundly ironic puzzle hidden within the text's own rules that I want to leave you with.
Oh, this is the ultimate stress test for the entire philosophy.
It really is. Deep in the document, Shuifeng offers a very specific warning about spiritual leaders. He writes, do not believe that anyone can help all sentient beings before they can handle their own affairs well. Either they are digging a trap for you or they are out of their mind.
It is a very grounded, rational warning against trusting chaotic gurus who claim to have the answers to the universe while their own lives are in shambles.
But look at the sheer magnitude of the document we just analyzed. Shuifeng has written a sweeping, cosmic manifesto dictating the literal, uncompromising rules of heaven, the mechanical nature of God, and the exact requirements for human salvation.
He is explicitly attempting to guide and help all sentient beings through this text.
Which forces you to apply Shuifeng's own lie detector test to Shuifeng himself.
Yes.
Shuifeng is telling you to blow your mental safe wide open, to abandon your marriage, your money, and your worries, and to become completely naked to the universe. But based on his own strict definition, given the unbelievable scale of what he's claiming to understand and dictate, is the author a wise guide who has perfectly handled his own affairs?
Is he someone digging a psychological trap for you?
Or is he simply out of his mind?
The philosophy provides the tools to dismantle everything, including its own creator. It puts the burden of ultimate judgment entirely on your shoulders.
Take a look at the facts. See if the text acts as an angel or a demon in your own life, and decide for yourself whether to keep your safe locked or get completely naked. It is definitely something to chew on the next time you catch yourself complaining about your commute. We will see you on the next deep dive.